Recording in progress.
Good afternoon. My name is Councillor Gwynol Ellis and I am the Chair of the Education and Skills Overview and Scrutiny Committee. I would like to welcome everyone to this meeting this afternoon, which is a hybrid meeting. All meetings open to the public shall be recorded and live streamed and shall be available for viewing after the meeting has concluded. Should the live streaming fail, the meeting will continue and the recording shall be available through the Council's website following the conclusion of the meeting. May I remind members that translation facilities are available, and for those attending on Zoom, to choose your language of choice. And for those wishing to speak in the chamber, please raise your hand, and for those on Zoom, please use the raise hand function. We shall alternate between speakers in the chamber and on Zoom. And for those of you attending remotely, please note that those in the chamber won't be able to use the chat facility. And attendees are required to leave their camera on at all times during discussions and voting to maintain the integrity of the decision-making process. If you have to leave the meeting temporarily, please leave a message in the chat so that the Democratic Services Officer is aware, and then let us know when you have returned. I expect everyone present and participating in this meeting to conduct themselves respectfully and respect each other, and this pertains to members, officers and anyone in the public gallery. And this afternoon, I would like to welcome Rhys Morris, a member of the Conwy Youth Council, who is attending his first meeting today as an observer. Welcome to you, Rhys. We shall proceed to the agenda. Apologies for absence.
Apologies have been received from Councillors Anne McCaffrey, Keith Eales and Austin Roberts.
Thank you very much. Councillor Hannah.
Councillor Chris Buckley might be late. He's travelling, but he is hoping to join remotely.
Thank you very much. Declarations of interest. I'd like to remind members that they must declare the existence and nature of their personal interests, and today, since we have people who are not members joining us, but school governors, you are also required to declare any interests in relation to item number 9. Councillor Kay?
Yeah, local authority governor for Ysgol Maes so non-prejudicial, so I'll take part in the discussion.
Diolch. Cynghorydd Goronwy.
Councillor Goronwy. Governor for Ysgol Emrys and Ysgol Llangolynnin Henryd. Councillor Paul?
Paul, Mike, please.
LEA Governor St Elvods.
Diolch yn fawr.
Thank you.
Cynghorydd.
Councillor?
LEA Governor for Ysgol Glangella.
Diolch yn fawr.
Thank you very much.
Cynghorydd Charlie.
Councillor Charlie? Glangella again.
Cynghorydd Dilwyn.
Councillor Dilwyn? Governor for Sbysifan, which shall be discussed today. Councillor Nia? I'm Governor for Ysgol Llanloughed. Thank you.
Cynghorydd Penny.
Councillor Penny?
Governor for Ysgol Banner Llanfachan.
Unrhyw un arall?
There we are. Anyone else? Any other school governors for the schools we shall be discussing this afternoon?
Cynghorydd Bernice.
Councillor Bernice, did you wish to declare an interest?
Ysgol Yforid.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Councillor Anthony.
Thank you, Chair. I'm a governor at Craigydon School and Badavon School. Does that make any difference to?
Not today, but thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, dyna ni. Thank you very much,
There we are
everyone.
then.
Materion brys.
Urgent matters.
Does na ddim materion
There are
brys.
none today.
Eitem pedwar.
Item number 4, the minutes to approve and sign as a correct record the minutes of the previous meetings. A meeting was held on the 8th of July 2024 and the minutes are to be found on pages 4 to 7 in your pack. Have I got a proposer and a seconder that they are a correct record, please?
Cynghorydd Joe,
Councillor Joe?
are you proposing?
Jacob.
Yes, and
Jacob.
Councillor Jacob is seconding. Can we show, everybody show, please, that you are happy with that? Diolch. Cyfarfod
And
gorffennaf...
then the meeting held on the 16th of July. Can I have a proposer and seconder for those, please?
Cynghorydd Hannah'n cynnig...
Councillor Hannah has proposed that they are correct. Have I got a seconder? Councillor Carol has seconded that. So if you can all show in the customary manner, please.
Diolch yn fawr.
Thank you very much.
Eitem 5.
Item number 5, the minutes of the Conwy Standing Advisory Council on Religious Education, pages 14 to 20.
Diddorol iawn, darllen y
They're make very interesting reading. Lots of good work is going on. Can we have someone to propose that these are the correct record, please? Just to note them, sorry.
Cynghorydd Anthony Batola yn
Councillor
cynnig...
Anthony Batola has proposed and Councillor Hannah has seconded. So if you can all show that we note these minutes.
Diolch.
Thank you.
Eitem 6.
Item number 6.
Cwestiwn I aelodau'r cabinet.
Questions to cabinet members, and there are none.
Eitem 7.
Item number 7, to review the forward work programmes from pages 21 to 53. Unfortunately, Dawn Hughes isn't able to be with us today due to illness, but we have been led to understand that there has been no change in the work programme since we discussed it at the last meeting, so there is nothing to be discussed there, unless anyone wishes to raise something today. No? There we are then.
Item 8. Oh, can we all, gawn ni gyd, gawn ni rywun i, dyn ni wedi cael y cynnigydd ag eilydd. Gawn ni rywun i gynnig y cofnodion.
Can we have someone to propose the sacra minutes? Have we? Oh, no, sorry, the forward work programme. Councillor Frank has proposed, and Councillor Hannah has seconded, so all to show, please. Thank you.
Right, item 8A, Employability and Skills Annual Report on pages 54 to 74. The Cabinet Member for Education will introduce the report, and representative for the Strategic Manager, Skills and Employability will present the report. Councillor Julie, thank you.
Diolch, Cadeirydd. Okay, so it gives me great pleasure, and always does, to come along and support and share the great work that goes on with Conway's Employment Service. What's before you today is their annual report. I just have to say that Libby can't be with us today as she's had a bereavement, and Sarah has kindly stepped in to go through the report with you. But I just wanted to say, I've seen firsthand, I've visited the service numerous times over the years, the effect that they have, and the opportunity they give young people to make a real difference in their lives. And sometimes it's a small step at first, but it really is amazing. And Sarah will go through the report a little bit more with you now. But the Employment Service provides a range of personalised employability to support to people aged 16 years plus, often those with complex needs living in Conway, with barriers usually to work. So some of that could be poor physical health, poor mental health, disabilities, low or no skills, long-term unemployed, issues relating to housing, debt, childcare, transport, to name but a few, and obviously living as we are currently with the cost of living crisis. And post-COVID, we're seeing more demand year on year, or probably month on month, on this service. And the team that work there have such compassion for the people that they support, and the outcomes really are amazing. Young people who would otherwise perhaps continue to stay disengaged from society, and it's incredibly powerful to see just what a difference they make. But I won't steal the thunder of Sarah. I will hand you over so that she can go through the annual report. But I just have to say thank you to Libby leading the service, and to Sarah and all the team who work really hard with the young people and make a massive difference in their lives. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. So during the year, 444 people have received support from our service, with 189 of those entering into sustainable employment. And that means 16 plus hours or more a week. 9 people of those have been placed within Conway Council roles, or roles supporting the local authority, such as Kemsol cleaning. An additional 35 people have entered work on 0 hours contracts, or chose to accept work under 16 hours a week. So over the year, we've strengthened the service with a number of new roles following additional funding from Welsh Government at the start of this financial year. This has included an additional employment engagement officer to help broaden our network of employers, and this provides mutual benefit to both participants and employers, helping people into work, but also filling the local skills and recruitment gaps that we're currently seeing in Conway. We introduced a guaranteed interview scheme and ran a number of business networking events highlighting the support available across the region, as well as raising awareness about the benefits of employing a more diverse workforce, especially neurodivergent employees. Using funding from the Welsh Government's Young Persons Guarantee, we've recruited 2 members of staff to engage purely with young people aged 16 to 24 who were struggling to engage with services and support following the pandemic. We successfully ran group sessions and activities to support disengaged young people to build their confidence, social communication and employability skills to better equip them to return to education or prepare them for training or employment. We held our 3rd Jobs Expo in Colwyn Bay, which was attended this time by over 1,000 people seeking information and advice on training, apprenticeships, employment support or work. We successfully drew down UK Government shared prosperity funding to deliver our Pathways to Employment project, and these courses are tailored to the needs of local employers and recruitment needs that we currently have in our area, and include sector-specific accredited qualifications together with employability skills and a guaranteed work placement at the end, which has proven really successful. Courses delivered to date include modular construction, security, CCTV, startup for self-employment. And to date, 269 people have successfully completed these courses, 99 have gained a qualification, and 68 have gone into employment, with 104 reported experiencing reduced barriers to getting into work. In December 2023, Welsh Government announced a 35% reduction in our Communities for Work Plus budget for 24 to 25. In order to preserve the service and protect jobs, we re-evaluated our priorities and began sourcing alternative revenue. As a result, by March 2024, we were successful in securing an additional 680,000 to meet this shortfall, and were able to strengthen our offering through a combination of Conway People and Skills SPF funding, Conway's Housing Support Grant and the Adult Community Learning Grant. And we are now proactively seeking ways to generate additional income to ensure that we are not solely reliant on grant funding in the future. Communities for Work Plus supports people aged 16 plus with complex barriers to employment, and these are defined as disabled people and individuals who have a health condition that impacts on their ability to work, Black, Asian and minority ethnic individuals, young people aged 20 to 24 not in employment, education or training, individuals over 50 years of age, people with low or no skills, women with complex barriers to employment, and carers and parents with childcare as a barrier to employment. So I've got a brief overview of the annual report now with some key points. The main purpose is to share the achievements that the team have supported over the year. So the programme, which is funded by Welsh Government, continues to make a significant difference to people's lives, and we are building on this through additional funding from other streams to ensure no one who needs our help misses out, especially those who are hard to reach and with complex barriers. We introduced a number of new and significant roles to strengthen the hub team during the year, which enabled us to widen our reach within the community, including the appointment of a new engagement officer to develop and build our relationship with employers and to give our participants access to a network of businesses and organisations looking to recruit at every level. The expansion of the team has ensured we have the dexterity and speed to react to change, as well as the capability to work with our strategic partners in developing and introducing projects to the benefit of all of those involved. The Guaranteed Interview Scheme is a prime example of this. We've also faced significant challenges during the latter part of the year, which we have sought to overcome. In December 2023, Welsh Government announced the 35% cut in our budget, and in response, as discussed, we've successfully drawn down an additional 680,000 in funding for quarters 3 and 4. This additional funding was used to support new projects, namely the Young People's Engagement Employability Project, which focuses on helping and supporting 16 to 19-year-olds to develop lifelong skills while providing a clear path to training and employment. And that's funded through the UK SPF Conway People and Skills Key Fund and runs until the end of November 2024. Another project includes the Confidently You programme, which focuses on reducing social isolation, building resilience, increasing confidence and self-esteem, developing soft, practical, financial, digital and employability skills while improving physical and mental health. That's funded through the UK SPF Conway People and Skills Key Fund and again runs out at the end of November 2024. Another project we're running is the Pathway to Employment, which is a schedule of sector-specific pathway courses which offer a blend of training on soft skills and employability, certificated sector-based qualifications and hands-on experience, as well as ad hoc training that sits within the participants' development needs. It's funded through the UK Government through the UK Shared Prosperity Fund and runs until the end of 2024. We have a targeted employability numeracy support, TENS, which provides person-centred essential numeracy skills to support to unemployed people who need to develop their numeracy skills and numeracy confidence in order to apply for jobs or attain a desired career path. TENS also provides numeracy support for prisoners released back into the Conway community through collaborative partnership working with Conway Employment Hub and HMP Berwyn. This is funded through the UK SPF Conway People and Skills Key Fund and runs until the end of 2024. This year we have recruited a homeless employment mentor, which is a dedicated homeless employment mentor managed by the Hub and is embedded within Conway's homeless prevention team, purely supporting people at risk or of experiencing homelessness to help them overcome barriers to training, volunteering and employment. And this role is funded by the Conway Housing Support Grant until the end of 2025. As we look ahead, our focus will be maintaining our support to help Conway residents find sustainable employment, which allows them to work productively while maintaining their health and well-being. And by working in partnership with our strategic partners, Conway Employment Hub will continue to make lasting and positive changes to people's lives. We value feedback, and in the report we've included some quotes that have come directly from people who've been supported by the mentors within our team. Helping young people. So in 2022, the Hub secured additional funding from Welsh Government's Young Persons Guarantee to support people 16 to 24-year-olds into employment and or training. So our offices worked very closely with Penrose Avenue, one of the 3 social inclusion units in Conway, to provide tailored employability support for Year 11 students. Penrose Avenue provides an alternative provision for students aged 5 to 16 years old who have struggled with mainstream education, whether that be through ill health, behavioural issues or other difficulties. Its support covers the development of self-esteem, confidence and self-worth, and engaging them in education to provide qualifications so they can access future pathways. The Hub ran a series of CV and interview technique workshops, discussed employment and training opportunities, and supported a number of them to enrol on one of our training courses. A number of moving forward programmes were run in conjunction with Abergele Youth Sheds, and these are a 6-week tailored pre-employment programme for 16 to 24-year-olds and involve many partner organisations running sessions on mental health and wellbeing, confidence development, money management and team building, and with the Hub's team holding sessions on CV writing, interview skills, and personalised support in finding suitable work placements. We also attended careers and job fairs at Conway secondary schools to help guide and support those learners that don't have their journey after school mapped out for them. This is a very important role for us to play, as it enables us to engage with those learners who might otherwise slip through the net after leaving school and help them navigate their pathway to training or work. On the back of these events, we were invited to attend the information sessions for carers and parents to make them aware of the help and support we can also offer. We ran a niche marketing campaign in 2023 aimed at year 11 and 13 learners, and this included an advertising campaign on Facebook to help students find a summer job. And one of our weekly employability features on Bayside Radio focused on students awaiting their A-level and GCSE results. This was a roundtable discussion with Group Llandrillo Menai, Careers Wales and the Hub, talking about options for young people and where to turn if they needed advice, which was then backed up by drop-in sessions on results days at Bayview Shopping Centre. As well as the above activities, we also work closely with a number of key partners, including Education Services, Conway Youth Service Projects, Cynnydd, Oak Tree Projects and Track, Youth Justice, Youth Sheds, 16 to 24-year-old advisors at the job centres, Scope, Jobs Growth Wales and Careers Wales. And the Youth Engagement Project is playing an increasingly crucial role in engaging with those Year 11 learners who are most at risk of becoming NEET on leaving school, and the activity we work on is a year-round programme. We are delighted that this invaluable support will be continuing into 2024 to 25, having secured funding from the Conway People and Skills Key Funds supporting young people aged 16 to 19 years old. We had the Conway Job Expo, which is our annual all-sector countrywide jobs and careers fair held in February, and it was declared a resounding success by all who attended. The event aims to be a one-stop shop for employability, bringing together employers who are actively recruiting with job seekers, as well as colleges and training organisations for those that are wanting to learn or develop existing skills. This is the third year we've run this event, and every year it grows in stature, with this year's event attracting 1,117 attendees and 86 exhibitors, making the Expo North Wales the biggest employment event. This year will be difficult due to cuts in funding, but we still look to hold smaller job and employer events. Throughout the year, we also ran smaller monthly job fairs in partnership with DWP at the job centres, which have been attended by over 300 job seekers. And we also exhibit at job and careers fairs run by our strategic partners, including Probation Services, Bangor University, Maximus, and local secondary schools. To develop and build our relationship with employers, we've appointed a second employment engagement officer, and they've been successfully building relationships with new and existing employers in Conway in order to secure volunteering opportunities, work trials and employment for the Hub's participants. We also held our first business information and networking event at Conway Business Centre in February, which showcased the invaluable business support available to employers, with guest speakers including DWP and Group Llandrillo Menai, who presented information on ways to upskill and train existing staff with funding options and apprenticeship opportunities. The Guaranteed Interview Scheme, which is developed this year, is designed to make the recruitment process easier for employers. The scheme enhances the application process, giving employers access to the Hub's participants who have been pre-screened, so only the most suitable applicants or the most suitable candidates who meet all of the job specifications are put forward for an interview. This is a free service which is open to all employers in the county, no matter how big or small the business or organisation. During this year, we have run 33 training courses for participants, with topics ranging from employability sessions, CV writing and job applications, startup programme for those wanting to become self-employed, CSCS courses for upskilling those who want to work in construction, Welsh language courses, social care, SIA, CCTV, tourism and hospitality and construction. Invaluable support and help was also offered to Ukrainian refugees on a weekly basis at the number 20 community drop-in in Colwyn Bay. This included helping them compile their CVs and, importantly, highlighting their transferable skills to demonstrate that they were work ready and suitable for job roles in a variety of industries. The Hub's training coordinator completed the Level 2 Community and Food and Nutrition Skills course to be able to deliver Betsy Cadwallader University Health Board's Eat Smart, Save Better programme to community and Hub participant groups. As the number of people frequently needing and visiting food banks grows, these 1-hour sessions have been invaluable in helping people make healthy choices, learn how to use store cupboard staple ingredients while providing tips for saving money when food shopping or visiting a food bank. In September 2023, the Hub learnt we've been successful in securing £292,510 from the UK government through UK Shared Prosperity Fund for a Pathways to Employment project to deliver vital sector-specific training to all Conway residents aged 16 plus. As the funding is only valid until the end of November 2024, we hit the ground running, and in the short time period until the end of the financial year, we registered 280 Conway residents and ran 26 courses. As well as training our participants, upskilling our staff is also key to ensure that they can meet the needs of supporting unemployed people with complex barriers. So our team of employment mentors attended the Institute of Employability Professionals Mentoring for Employability course. Everyone in the team has also undertaken a mental health first aid course for adults, and if their job involves working with youths, then they've undertaken the same course specifically for that age range. The Hub continue to have a full and meaningful schedule of drop-in sessions to engage with the support of the community all around the county to promote our offering and support. This has included libraries, family centres, community hubs, job centres, food banks, Bayview Shopping Centre and Ysbyty Glenclwyd, with an average of 40 engagement sessions on every single month. These sessions were supplemented with additional presence at key events in the county. For example, we attended Take Part, Venue Cymru's annual 2-day arts, literature and science event, and it was phenomenally busy and the successful event with 114 engagements for our hub in Conway. The Hub partnered with Working Wales this year to organise a work and wellbeing event for midlifers aged 50 plus in Llandudno Town Hall, and the Information Day focused on helping people stay healthy and independent with a range of exhibitors offering help and advice on finding work, upskilling, improving physical and mental health, advice on support on finances and household costs, and advice on setting up a business, as well as help with digital competency. We also helped judge MSpark's Mutiny Bach Awards in Conway. Mutiny Bach is a programme for Year 5 and 6 pupils across Conway, Gwynedd and Anglesey to engage with and learn about entrepreneurship. And their task includes designing and developing a product, pricing, marketing, creating a brand and pitching their final idea for funding. The level of entrance was outstanding and the winning schools were Ysgol Dygamway and Ysgol Awel y Mynydd. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Sarah, for stepping in today. And I'm sure we all send our condolences to Libby, who's not here, obviously. And thank you for the report, which is full of hope and positivity and a lot of good news. And, I enjoyed reading this report and learning from it as well. I, for one, would love to visit one of the job fairs if that's at all possible, is it?
Yes, absolutely. We advertise on the social media and we can share it with all of the members as well.
Thank you.
Monthly or the annual one as well, which is coming up quite soon.
Obviously, one visit would suffice, but
yes.
I'd love to. And I'm sure other members of this committee would like to come as well.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oes genna ni rywun sydd yn dymuno?
Does anyone wish to speak about this, please?
Cynghorydd Paul.
Councillor Paul.
Cynghorydd Paul, microphone to your mouth, please. Thank you.
Thank you for the positive report. And if this is your first time doing a presentation, it was very impressive. Well done. It was very good. I've just got a couple of things, sort of questions, but also testing my understanding, really. I was recently reading, it was only published a couple of weeks ago, the Organisation of Economic Cooperation and Development report in relation to both Wales and UK. And it was indicating we're getting more and more youngsters arriving at 16 with limited attainments and limited skills. and a particular concern about the number of boys at that stage. And I think your figures from your report indicate you have more boys than girls. I'm right in saying that, aren't I? Yeah. So in a sense, all the positives that you do, sort of 16 and post 16, is great. But you sort of have to ask the questions, what's going wrong in our schools before this point? Because some of the skills training you're doing and some of the attainments that you're enabling these youngsters to obtain, it feels strange that some of that work can't be done in our schools. And so I'm sort of raising that question from your intelligence when you meet these youngsters the first time. What do they tell you about what's gone wrong for them going through that system? So that's one question. And the second question, which I want to drill down on a bit, is I'm fully appreciative the Shared Prosperity Fund pays for the employment pathways work and some other work, as you were suggesting. I think we're all anxious knowing that that's coming to an end. And so I do want to drill down a bit on the specifics of what contingencies you're putting in place, because hopefully we won't come to a situation where some of these very positive, valuable services just finish overnight. So if you could just give a bit of detail on the, if you like, your contingency plan going forward.
Thank you, Councillor Paul. I think Dr. Lowry Brown's going to answer this one.
If I come in on the first question, Sarah, and then I'll hand over to you on the second one. I mean, I think that this is a debate for another scrutiny committee, Councillor Paul. And I think it's probably unfair to ask Sarah on what they perceive that the views of young people post-16 coming into that pre-16 world are. Yeah, so I don't want to get into that now. You know, we do bring information through scrutiny processes in terms of attainments, in terms of pupils' attitude to self and school as part of our well-being data collection exercise that we undertake. So I'm not sure that it's relevant for this particular discussion today, Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Lowry. I agree with you. And thanks for clarifying. Thank you. What about the second part of the question?
So the question on funding, we have a team member at the moment who's dedicated part of their working week to looking and trying to secure extra funding and really casting our net wider than before to find out what funding is available and what we can access to make sure this can be continued. Because like you said, the work we've done is absolutely crucial to some people and we want to make sure that can continue. So sadly, with the cuts in funding, we just have to keep reprioritising what we're doing, but we are hopeful we will be able to find other funding pots that can support what we do.
Thank you, Sarah. Dr. Lowry, you want to come back?
Yeah, sorry, just on the previous point as well. I think, Councillor Paul, one thing that is really important to note that is in 2019, we brought employability over to the education portfolio. And I think that having that skills agenda positioned within that educational context was a really important step for us, because it ensured, you know, that we have eyes and have contact on our learners from a very early age all the way through to post-16, breaking down those barriers to entering into the world of work. So I think that where employability is situated helps us ensure that continuity.
Diolch, Dr. Lowry. Nesa, mae ganddon ni ar...
Next, we've got online.
Dave Jones.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I was basically what I was going to say really backs up what Lowry's just said. But firstly, you know, all the work, it's just incredibly important and valuable for the young people over the age of 16. Ever increasing complexities as they move from childhood into the big wide world, really. And I'd like to thank the service for their incredible work with these young people. And on the point that Lowry just made, also the work that's been carried out with children and young people still in school provides these youngsters with skills before they move into the workplace. So I'd basically just like to say, after reading the report, just well done and keep it going, and good luck with all the grants that you'll need to try to keep it going. Well done.
Thanks for that, Councillor Dave. Next we have Councillor Hannah.
Diolch. A few points is it's not that long since these children were impacted massively by COVID, and I'm sure I'm really pleased that you're doing something about the confidence, levels of self-confidence, because as a teacher at that time, it struck me that was something that was taken away from our children quite harshly for a while. The sheer variety of things you do is a bit gobsmacking, really. It's amazing how where you get to in this employability, and I'm really pleased to see the imaginative and creativity way you tackle this issue. Very positive about it. I'd also like to say I was actually at the jobs fair in February, and I did see you as we walked in, and I'm pleased to say that the person I was with walked away with an interview that went on to be satisfactory. So there we go, a personal gain there for somebody that I work with. So well done, and I hope we can keep it going. I hope we can help with the funding. I hope we can continue to support this. It's extremely important that we don't let these people not be able to reach their potential, because that's what Conwy needs. We need our young people and our older people to reach their potential and to be able to join in our society and live their best lives here. Thank you.
Diolch, Cynghorydd Hannah.
Thank you, Councillor Hannah.
Online we have Councillor Cheryl.
Diolch, Chair. Thank you very much for that, Sarah. Excellent report, and sympathies, condolences to Libby. Just a couple of questions, please. Young care leavers, how many of those do we support, please?
Sarah, do you have that information?
I don't have that information, but we can certainly share that with everybody.
Of course, yes. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you for that. And the other question, I think, references in the report, the funding finishes in November 2024. I don't know if it's a question for Councillor Julie or for Lowry about future funding and support for this service. It's so important.
Anybody able to answer that question?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Cheryl. And it's always a challenge with these projects that are funded via the Shared Prosperity Fund. You know, we work on a regional basis closely with colleagues across the region on seeking, you know, other funding streams. We continuously do that, and we have been relatively lucky insofar, although there has been a significant reduction last year on the grant funding that we received. We are in early discussions, Councillor Cheryl, on how we can do this differently. Maybe we need to think of other ways of sourcing and setting up the team, but I wouldn't want to share that now, because we're still in early discussions as an education management team in relation to that. But I think we do need to explore other ways, and I think, you know, forging other partnerships with agencies and sectors in order to be able to continue to deliver this type of service. So thank you for the question, and it is something that's on our radar.
Diolch, Lowry.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. Just un cwestiwn gen I.
Just one question from me, and perhaps you won't be able to answer it today, but it would be very interesting to know how many primary schools participate in the MSBAC project, the Mute Bach project, and what could be done to encourage more schools perhaps to take part, because it opens their minds perhaps to being self-employed in the future. Do you have that information, or something that we could have?
were 6 Conway schools from Conway that attended this one. So I don't know why the others didn't, but that's certainly something we can find out.
I'm sure it's
as to
something
why.
that needs a bit of a push, doesn't it? Yeah, Dian. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Anybody
Thank
else?
you very
Unrhyw un
much.
arall eisiau siarad? Nag oes, felly. Yr argymelliad ydy bod
The
ni'n...
recommendation is that we note the contents of this report. Have I got a proposer for that?
Cynghorydd Hannah yn cynnig...
Councillor Hannah has proposed
Cynghorydd Dilwyn yn
and
eilio.
Councillor Dilwyn has seconded. Can everyone show hands, please, in the customary manner?
Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Thank you very much.
Iawn, te. Item 9.
Item number 9. Federalisation or amalgamation of schools in the county borough. And this is a very long report from pages 75 to 139, and it's in 3 parts, 9A, 9B and 9C. And the Cabinet Member for Education, Councillor Julie Fallon, shall introduce the 3 reports, which shall be presented by the Strategic Manager afterwards. Thank you, Councillor Julie.
Yeah, so I won't introduce each individual report. I will just explain that we have obviously the 3 reports that are coming forward. So the first one being the Federation of Ysgol Llandoged and Ysgol Ysbyty Ifan. Then we have the amalgamation of Ysgol Glangele and Ysgol Sant Elfod, and then the amalgamation of Ysgol Yforid and Ysgol Maes Owen. And I just want to be really clear, this is about consulting on each of those. This isn't about discussing what it looks like, the intimate details of everything regarding this. This is giving the team the go-ahead, and obviously passing on your thoughts to council in terms of us approving the go-ahead to consult on each of those schools that I've just mentioned there. The opportunity to discuss in more detail will come forward when we get the results of the consultation. That will then come back through scrutiny, cabinet, and people will have the opportunity, members will have the opportunity to discuss then the detail around whether that's the finances, the plans going forward, what they might look like. I mean, obviously we can talk a little bit today, but really, I mean, I'll hand over to the team now so that they can just give you the opportunity to go through the report. But yeah, this is about the consultation that we will have for each of those areas, as I mentioned, and then we'll have the opportunity to discuss that in further detail. Thanks, Chair.
Diolch, John.
Thank you, John.
Diolch, Cadeirydd. Thank you, Julie. Afternoon, members. In your agenda packs today, you have 3 separate reports, as Councillor Julie mentions, 2 of which are requests to start a formal public consultation to look at the proposals of amalgamating schools, and you have 1 report requesting to start a formal public consultation to look at a federation exercise. The term amalgamation describes a formal and legal process by which 2 or more existing schools become 1 school. The amalgamation of schools is a more formal way of extending existing collaborations and promoting closer working relationships. The proposal and subsequent statutory steps will be in line with the Welsh Government Statutory Code of Practice, the School Organisation Code 2nd edition. This is the first visit of a possible 3 to Cabinet, the first being a request to start a consultation, today's meeting. Second, to share feedback of the consultation and to seek Cabinet approval to proceed to the next stage of the process, which is to issue a statutory notice. And the final visit will be to formally approve the amalgamation after considering any objections. The first amalgamation proposal is between Ysgol Glangele and Ysgol Sant Elfod in Abergele. They are currently identified as a separate junior and infant schools based a stone's throw away from one another on the same site, in separate buildings. As part of our strategic school planning work and recent changes in the senior leadership team, we've taken this opportunity to meet and discuss with governors, staff and local councillors the option of amalgamation. Through this report, we are now formally requesting scrutiny review our request, and we ask Cabinet's approval to formally commence with the consultation process. The second amalgamation is between Ysgol Yforid and Ysgol Maes Owen in Kimmel Bay. Similarly to the first amalgamation, the schools are junior and infant schools in the Kimmel Bay area on the same site but in separate buildings. Again, a changing leadership team has allowed us to work quickly to look at education delivery in this area. The third report you have today is a request to go out to consult on the Federation of Ysgol Llanddoged and Ysbyty. The Federation of Schools is a legal process enabling schools to work together through a formal structure by sharing a governing body that will make decisions in the best interests of all the schools, staff and learners in that federation. Both Ysgol Ysbyty and Ysgol Llanddoged are 4 to 11 years old, voluntary controlled Welsh primary schools, 12 miles apart, and currently have one head teacher managing both schools. Following a discussion with the head teacher, governors of both schools, and local councillors, we are asking for approval to go out and consult on the formal federation of these schools. And as Julie mentioned there, to stress, the report is only asking for Cabinet and Scrutiny to consider approval to start the consultation process in all three areas. It is not asking for approval to agree or disagree with these proposals. Diolch.
Diolch yn fawr I chi, John, am
Thank you very much, John, for explaining the difference between federalisation and amalgamation of schools and for clarifying what exactly we are tasked with here today. Thank you very much. I realise that some people may wish to contribute, so I shall provide you the opportunity to voice your opinions now or make any proposals or whatever. First of all, I've got Councillor Joel Nuttall online. Joel.
Just a couple of questions. On the report from the first two schools, the Llanddoged and Ysgol Ysbyty, in the finance section, it just uses the word should when talking about the money for each pupil staying the same. Is that going to remain as should, or could it easily flip to will or will not? And the second question is just a technical one. Ysgol Glangeli and Ysgol San Elfed. When I looked on Google Maps to look at the lie of the land, it mentions Glanmorfa. Is that a separate school completely, or is that on the same land? Thank you.
Diolch,
John. Yeah, diolch. If I can come back on the second aspect of that question first. Ysgol Glanmorfa is a Welsh primary school on the same site as Ysgol Glangeli and St Elfod, but a separate primary school. On the first question, I'd have to look at the report in a bit more detail to just get back to you on that one, but I'll happily do that after this meeting.
Happy with that, Joe?
Yeah, would Glanmorfa not be pulled into the same amalgamation or not?
Dr Lowry Brown.
Thanks, Councillor Joe. Not at the moment, Councillor Joe, because of the status of the schools. So we're looking at an infant and a primary school, and that natural flow of learner from the infant sector to the junior sector. And of course, they are English medium schools. So, you know, as part of our WESP and our future strategy around the development of the Welsh language, we will be encouraging our English medium schools as well to increase their teaching of Welsh. But no, at the moment, we will have our designated Welsh school, which is Ysgol Glanmorfa, and our designated English medium primary school. You know, if we had the capital funding to build fantastic new schools, then we'd be able to do that, and that site could possibly look quite differently. But we want to maintain that Welsh medium offer and also the English medium offer.
Diolch.
Gai just dweud, chyba fel...
May I just say, as the Welsh language champion for the Council, I'm a bit concerned about you saying, for the time being, about amalgamating a Welsh medium and an English medium school. You can't have a dual stream school, because Glangeli is, Glanmorfa is a Welsh school, isn't it? There are no plans for the amalgamation of those schools, Chair, so I apologise if that impression was created. There is no intention to amalgamate them. They are separate schools with designated language streams. I'm happy that we've been able to clarify that for anyone viewing this meeting today. Thank you. Councillor Nia Owen. Thank you for allowing me to speak, Chair, since I am not a member of this committee. As I stated at the beginning of this meeting, I am a governor for Ysgol Llanddoged. I welcome the opportunity to take part in the consultation on federalisation of the two schools, Ysgol Sbetifan and Ysgol Llanddoged. We all know that the situation for rural schools is different from schools in towns and along the coast. Very often these schools are the heart of their communities, and that is certainly true in Llanddoged and Ysbyty. And in addition to that, of course, they are centres for the promotion of the Welsh language in those areas, and that is essentially important too. I trust that the Council shall continue to support the head teacher throughout this process and to provide plenty of guidance, but no, I welcome this opportunity to federalise and to consult upon the federalisation of both schools in order to ensure that they remain for the future in these Welsh language strongholds in the south of the county. Thank you.
Dilwyn.
Thank you for the comments. Councillor Dilwyn, online. Yes, Nia has said exactly what I wanted to say. I sit on the Board of Governors for Ysbyty, and I think the time is right now for us to go out to consultation, and if I may propose that we do so, that we go with the recommendation.
Diolch yn fawr, Cynghorydd Dilwyn.
Thank you, Councillor Dilwyn.
Councillor Paul, you've got a hand up.
Councillor.
It's relating to Ysbytyfan and Llanddoged.
I've got some comments on all three.
There we are. Okay, carry on. Thank you.
I appreciate the parameter today is just a decision to go out to consultation. My concern is in relation to the information in the consultation documents, because I think, as people know, I always believe the maximum facts and information you can provide to the public is in the public interest. Now, my concern is in relation to all three of the mergers. I'll start with the merger that impacts the ward where I live, the Abergele merger. Obviously, the big disappointment with this was when I was elected in May 2022, we were talking about having a new school, a new primary school, and that was involved not just St Elfod's and Glengeli, but also I think Glamorgan moving to a new site as well. So that was all very positive, and then that fell through. Now, I do think in the report there needs to be some explanation of that to our residents and parents, so they understand. It may only need to be a paragraph, but I think that paragraph should be in that report. I think the other issues, yes, well, I thought I did. What I want is an explanation. It only needs to be a short paragraph, but why the new primary school is not going ahead, because I think that is important for people locally to know. Now, some people know because local councillors have clearly told them the Welsh government wouldn't give us the money to do it, and it was going up all the time. I think in the end it was about £31.5 million we were looking for, but I think that needs to be explained in the consultation document.
Okay, can we? I know it's in the report on 1.2 already confirmed as an affordable. Does anybody want to respond to that question?
We can expand as far as this group would like us to, really. You know, as you mentioned, Chair, that we've said it's unaffordable, and we can go into more detail about the priority exercise that we've carried out last October, I think it was, with regards to looking at all the various projects. That we take your advice on this as a scrutiny committee, really.
Dr. Lowry?
And I think, this is where we do rely on our local authority representatives in terms of elected members on governing bodies and out within the communities, because you've been part of these discussions and this journey with us for some time. The challenges that we've faced in not being able to access capital funding, the situation, the financial situation that we find ourselves in as a local authority. So I think it's about us all, sharing these key messages as well with parents within the community, that this is the way in which we feel that we can deliver education within this particular area as efficiently as possible, given the financial climate that we find ourselves in.
Thank you. Councillor Julie Fallon.
Thank you. Yeah, if you look at page 100, as you say in 1.2 alternative options, it says, given that the initial proposal to merge schools and build a new school is financially unaffordable at present, the second option is to explore the initial amalgamation of both schools. I think we need to be careful that we don't add in too much information, because actually I think people tend to disengage then. I'm not quite sure what else you want to add to that, Paul. You can say due to Welsh Government X, Y and Z, but I think there it's quite clear that the initial proposal to merge schools and build a new school is financially unaffordable at present, and the second option is to explore amalgamation of both schools. I think that's the information parents need. I mean, I don't know if anyone thinks there should be something further, but we could add a little more detail there, but I think that's quite clear.
Thank you. That was my reason for interrupting, because I just wanted you to have a chance. Did anybody else want to respond? Arweinydd? No? Thank you. Carry on, Councillor Paul. Thank you.
Yeah, the second issue, and it was almost the first issue, was raised with me when I was elected by the governing body of St Elfod, was the concerns that they've had for a number of years over how the funding formula impacted on the unit per pupil allocation. And as we can see from the financial figures in the consultation, that's sort of confirmed in respect of the schools in Abergele do, relative to the average unit pupil cost in Conway, receive less money, and also obviously some schools receive significantly more than the average cost. Now, my concern is even with amalgamation, though there is some small funding for the first 2 years, that the actual unit costs of the new amalgamated school will still be low relative to the average and low relative to many schools. Now, again, I fully understand what you're saying is, well, if you provide information that makes that too complicated. But I do not understand in paragraph 5 in the first report, and you're saying you're justifying it on the federation, why we don't have the unit costs of those two schools, because I'm pretty sure under the funding formula that those schools, and I know there've been some minor changes in the funding formula relatively recently to do with ALN and teaching assistants, but the disadvantage for schools like Glangeli and St Elfod's has been historically because of the funding formula protections for small schools, Welsh language, and to some extent social deprivation. And my concern is that information, which is a concern for local residents and parents, I'm not sure from reading these reports they fully get that that picture. Now, I know that there will be pushback on that, but again, as I've argued many times since I was elected, I think we need maximum information through reports, through scrutiny, but in the public domain about unfilled school places and about unit costs per pupil, per school, and how those unit costs are then benchmarked against both the average and those schools that are top of the league table, if you like, for unit costs. Because otherwise, parents and residents don't really understand that full picture. And I always believe our residents and parents should have the full picture. So I think that is an important point. And again, I don't feel that context is captured. The context that you've given us today in terms of the criteria for choosing Abergele schools, Towyn and Kimmel Bay, and Ysbyty Ifan and Llandogo is because there's an opportunity, really, because a school leader, a head teacher is not there, so it makes the process easier. And I fully understand that. You would obviously pick the lowest apples on the tree first.
Sorry, can I interrupt you because you're running away with your thoughts, I think. Councillor Julie.
No, this has nothing to do with picking the lowest apples on the tree. This is to do with what we've discussed previously, and which you yourself has just mentioned, Paul, is that these are the schools who we have a separate infants and juniors. And these are the ones that we determined as part of the Sustainable Communities for Learning were the ones that we wanted to address for that reason, so that young people have a better transition through their primary education and feel part of the school, as opposed to having another transition after infants into juniors and then after juniors into secondary school. This is nothing to do with picking the lowest apples from the tree. This is to do with making sure that we are choosing what we think is the best and most appropriate education for our young people. And the rest of it is just, additional to that there may be some form of savings. But this is about making our schools the best that we want to be, and for our young people to feel a part of something. And and all the evidence suggests that the separate infants and juniors just adds to, I guess, the anxiety of transition, which we all know is difficult for young people. So, I completely go against everything you said there about why we've chosen this, because it's easiest. No, it's not. It's because this was a thought out process that began years ago when we looked at the schools that we were going to, or the areas that we were going to look at as part of what was then the 21st century schools. So that's why we're sat here today, Chair. Thank
you. Diolch, Cynghorydd Julie. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Julie.
As chair of this committee, I'd hate anybody to think that we consider those schools named in this report as the lowest apple on any tree. Let me make that clear. Yeah. It's your opinion. Thank you. Claire.
Thank you. I just want to reiterate that, really. I think, that there's several aspects here. The first and foremost is within our strategic outline plan that a priority for Conway is to amalgamate our current separate infant and junior schools, and that is something we will seek to do across all of those schools. There's only, I think, one more set after these two, and we've not started anything around that process, but it will be part of that plan. Yes, I suppose that there's an opportunity for this to start a little bit earlier than maybe we had anticipated, because that was the right thing to do at the time, but it is part of that strategic outline plan. And as I've discussed with governors, with staff, it is about the curriculum, it is about that curriculum journey, it's about the essence of Curriculum I Gymru, which is about individual progression steps throughout their school career from 4, 5 all the way to 16. And, you know, the staff that we've talked to and consulted with are on board with that aspect, particularly because it is about that curricular journey and not putting in steps that ought not be there really. But at the moment, because a group of learners is transitioning from one school to another, of course, we've got to put in some sort of assessment, an attainment point, in order for the other school to be able to have information about that young person, which in a through primary school you wouldn't be doing until the point at which they come to secondary. And I'm not going to get into finance and figures, but I suppose, you know, this with proposed amalgamations, and we're asking obviously for permission to consult on those proposed amalgamations today, not necessarily to get into the nitty gritty, but, you know, that's not going to impact the funding formula for the schools across Conway. The funding formula is what it is. And as you pointed out, Councillor Paul, there have been some changes to that over time. But I think, you know, it's about what is the right thing to do in terms of these schools, these children, these staff, the leaders, etc. And that's what we're trying to focus on. It's not going to impact the funding formula. It's not going to neither advantage nor disadvantage any particular school if this is something that we choose to do. So I think, you know, whilst I appreciate the information about the finances is there, but I wouldn't want to focus too much on that because nothing's going to change whether people agree with the notion of amalgamation or not. The funding formula is the funding formula, and that is set through appropriate processes.
Dr. Lowry. I think that in light of becoming or potentially becoming one primary school, those options will be available that haven't been available to an infant and a junior school as they are now, in order to balance that funding out across the school as a whole. So, you know, despite it not being financially driven, there will be some benefits as well.
Cynghorydd Kay.
Chair. Thank you for coming to visit us as governing bodies. And I know we've discussed things like budgets at that, so we don't need to go into that. Could you just explain to me, it's probably very simple, but I just need it explaining, the transitional protection, what does that mean?
So the transitional funding model, I think, was brought to Cabinet in the last 12 months, and it's something where schools are on two split sites, but they come together as one school, and rather than having that one hit along with current savings that schools have to do, this was seen as a kind of 3-year protection that we could gradually reduce the allocation that those schools receive, that school receives, to make it more palatable and on an operational side easier for the school to manage as well.
Sorry, and I think also to acknowledge that the savings you might make by all of the children and all the staff being on one site are not as easy to make if you remain on 2 sites. So that kind of acknowledges that and allows the time then for that to bed in, if you like.
Diolch yn fawr. Cynghorydd Joe Nuttall ar-lein.
Diolch, Cadeirydd. As a governor for a school which has amalgamated in 1984 on 2 separate sites, it works really, really well. I'd like to second the recommendation, please.
Ganddo ni gynigydd.
We've got a proposer and a seconder. Is there anyone else?
Ar-lein mae gennym ni Ros.
Online, we've got Ros who wishes to speak. Thank you.
You're muted, Ros.
Right, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Thank you. I just wanted to reinforce what Julie was saying, Councillor Julie and Councillor Joe. As a long-standing head of an amalgamated school, senior leaders have a mission and a vision, and they want to share that with us, with the pupils and the staff. And it is so much easier if you're sharing that visions with pupils from the age of 3 to the age of 11, because those pupils just take that on board and then they just develop in their own ways based on that vision and that mission, and also the staff clearly understand where the senior leaders are coming from and what they're hoping to achieve. So it's just definitely in favour. Thank you.
Diolch yn fawr iawn, Ros.
Thank you very much,
Iawn
Ros.
te, chi'n gwybod, os oes gen rywun...
If anyone has any further observations to make and that you qualify to submit a consultation form, you are welcome to provide comments through that process. So we've got a proposer, Councillor Dilwyn.
Felly, dwi wedi cael cyfarwyddyd yn fan
So
hyn.
I've been directed now, just for clarification, since there was the difference between federalisation and amalgamation, we shall take 9A first of all. I assume that Dilwyn has proposed, Councillor Dilwyn did propose that we go out to consultation upon the proposed federalisation of Ysgol Llandoged and Ysgol Ysbyty Ifan. Yes?
Oes rhywun yn eilio y cynghorydd Dilwyn?
Have I got someone to second Councillor Dilwyn's proposal on item 9A? Councillor Joe is prepared to second that proposal. Could everyone show hands, please, if you are happy with that recommendation?
Oes rhywun yn erbyn?
And is anyone against?
Neb yn ymatal chwaith.
And no abstentions. There we are. So that's been carried. Item 9B, a consultation upon the proposal to amalgamate Ysgol Glangele and Ysgol Sant Elfod. May I have a proposer on that recommendation, please?
Mae cynghorydd Hannah yn cynnig...
Councillor Hannah has proposed.
A cynghorydd Joe Nuttall yn
And
eilio.
Councillor Joe Nuttall has seconded that proposal. So if you can all show hands if you are in agreement, please. There we are. That is unanimous. And the final item, 9C, consultation upon the proposal to amalgamate Ysgol Yforydd and Ysgol Maes Owen. May I have a proposer, please? Councillor Hannah in the chamber has made the proposal, and Councillor Dav Jones online has seconded that. If you are in agreement, please show hands, please. There we are. That is unanimous. Thank you very much to you. And thank you to all for participation in the discussion this afternoon. And I hope that, Rhys, you have enjoyed your first meeting and that you will return again. Thank you. Thanks to you all.
Thanks, Chair.